What up, YouTube? It's Rob Monty here, bringing you guys some new wrestling news content. Unfortunately, today I have to give some sad news. As you guys know, probably it's been reported all weekend. Um, Professional wrestling star from Stardom, Hana Kimura, has passed on. I'm gonna bring up some pictures here for you guys. Um, Basically, she was 22 years old, and she was becoming a young major superstar for Stardom. And guys, she's also daughter of a legendary wrestler, I believe Kyoko Kimura, and it's so sad in my opinion because I personally have been following her for the last 2 years, watching her on YouTube with watching Stardom and New Japan shows because that's the only way I can actually get a chance to watch the Japanese matches is through YouTube. I've also been following her on Instagram and Twitter. I mean, really, and for me personally, one of the main reasons why I kind of got hooked on her. I mean, as you can tell, she's freaking attractive, really beautiful, kind of cute too, for that matter. Um, Sadly, the sad news of her passing is due to due to the fact that she had committed suicide, which was led on by cyberbullying. Hannah, this past week, was dealing with depression issues related to cyberbullying. She was getting bullied online by so many people after they watched an episode of Terrace House, where basically Hannah was yelling at one of the girls because they had washed her gear and she told them not to in a certain way. So in response, a lot of people decided to, you know, basically go online and just basically torment her online. Um, you know, and the next thing you know, prior to her suicide, she had posted up online that she was, going to do it and all that. She was even cutting her wrist. That was taken down from Twitter. I actually saw it though because I have a friend who was actually following this and actually saw it on their feed, and from there they pretty much posted it on Facebook. So when I saw it, I was like, no fucking way. And at the end, though, unfortunately, um, she had actually put up two final messages. One was to her mom, saying that she was sorry and she was thanking her for giving her life. And the other one was to her cat, wishing that her cat would live long and have fun and live happy. Um, Next morning, the authorities and people who were trying to look for Hannah found her dead in her room, her apartment, I believe. And it was tragically horrible news after that. I mean, as you guys know, this comes off of the same week of Shad Gaspard's passing. And overall, I gotta say, the wrestling world is mourning heavily at this time. And as you guys can see from the pictures here, doesn't she look like she has a lot of life in her? I mean, for real. I mean, so young, and it's snuffed out due to people being fucking mean on fucking Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, all over social media, to this poor young girl, and it's not fair. And for that matter, guys, I'm gonna just say this: if you are cyberbullying people or trolling people online to be an asshole or make them feel like bad, or specifically saying the same words as drink bleach or go die, you need to stop. Because you don't realize, one, you could actually cause someone to break. Unfortunately, in this case, Hannah was that person that was break. Now, usually, I do not advocate people who commit suicide, but in this case, In Hana's case, she's one of those cases where I don't blame her for her death, nor do I blame it on suicide. I blame it on murder because this is someone pushing. This is someone who was pushed by millions of people who didn't like her just because of one episode that they watched on fucking Netflix, you know? I mean, for crying out loud, that's a fucking TV show. It might be reality TV for one, but you know, that does not reflect the real person in life. You know, it just doesn't. And you don't know what they are going through every daily life. I mean, you don't know what she had to go through before this all happened. And for those people to go bully her, I mean, that's just horrible. And I think anybody who does that is an asshole. And you should be very, very ashamed of yourself if you did join in on this cyberbullying. I truly believe it, you know, on that side. And, you know, and I feel so horrible for Hana and her family right now, because of how this tragedy came out to be. I think yesterday news came out about it, about how she passed away. It was due to a substance that was in her room that happened to be kind of like it's like something that they put in your. I believe you breathe it in and then you basically ingest it. It's a chemical basically, but it's not like the normal wrestling substance where you hear the person overdose. But this substance was so strong that it could possibly kill anybody, and in this case, this is what led to Hana's death, unfortunately. Alright, so basically I look at this whole situation and I just find it very, very horrible altogether. As far as anything that I can say about Hana other than of what I followed her in her career in the last year or so, is that, you know, of all things, I never thought a fucking Instagram or Twitter post would be the one thing that I would remember this girl mostly by. And what actually made me fall in love watching her. And it was just basically her and Konami in a video together on Instagram, where basically Konami is like playing with her phone, making some weird sound, and Hana's like dancing and singing. And I'm gonna say about 2 or 3 weeks after that video aired on Instagram and Twitter, the song got stuck in my head so fucking bad, I started singing it. I can tell you that much. So, you know, and it would every time where I would feel a little bit down and that song just started playing in my head, it got me to stop worrying or thinking about stuff. So, and on top of that, I thought the two of them were just being fucking cute with this video. So, you know, to me, to have that stuck in your head for 3 weeks going on, like of her dancing and singing while Konami's playing on her phone, flashing her camera and all that kind of shit, was hilarious. So, you know, even if it's just a small story like that, I'm at least happy for that. I mean, because personally, that was that's a memorable moment, and especially with wrestlers who are trying to entertain you and trying to give you guys something. And that's one of those moments where I'm going to remember. And it makes me sad that this had to happen. And because of this, I've actually checked out Terrace House too. After hearing about this whole thing, I just wanted to check to see how the show was. Plus, I wanted to see what was the situation was about, and I was like, and I thought to myself, my God, these people went out of their way to cyber bully this girl over something so fucking stupid, like legitimately super stupid. You know, it's such an insignificant thing that people would go out of their way to attack people. I mean, the Black Eyed Peas said it best. Where's the love, folks? Where is the love? And that's one of those stories. I mean, it makes me real sad that this happened. In general, I send my condolences to her family, and I'm with the rest of you guys who are fans of her. I'm praying for their family. I don't consider, like I said, I don't consider Hana's suicide a suicide. I consider it a murder, just because of the fact that these people who are cyberbullies who decide to do this, tell her to drink bleach or tell her to go die. That is, you should never do that. I don't care if you want to, you should never do that to a person, because you don't know what the fuck they're going through in their life. You don't know if they're depressed with their life. You don't know if they feel emptied, or you never know. Some people are thick-skinned and can handle ridicule like that. But then the people who aren't thick-skinned and are very emotional, they pretty much will take it to heart, and it would hurt them so devastatingly like this. And to have and from what I heard, it was a multitude of people doing this to her after that episode, and it's like, you're so fucking wrong, so fucking wrong for it, and. It makes me really, really sad. I was a huge fan of hers, guys. As of the last 2 years I've been following, I even got to see some of the stuff she did in Ring of Honor. Oh man, it's just so sad. Especially because when I first saw her, she was starting off with her mother. Her mother and her were a little bit of a tag team before she moved on to become part of Tokyo Cyber Squad. And let me tell you this, guys. My 3 favorite acts in Japan currently are as follows. Number 3 was the Tokyo Cyber Squad, which was Hana's group there. The next one would be Will Ospreay. Hard to believe because Will Ospreay is just fucking awesome, right? And number 3 would be Tama Tonga. That guy is freaking awesome and hilarious. It's not even funny. It's not funny like to say that he's not awesome enough to be funny, but it's just, he's fucking awesome. So when I look at this, it's like, oh my god, my Japan. Honestly, guys, growing up, I haven't felt this kind of pain about a wrestler since Eddie Guerrero passing, because that was the ruthless aggression era of my adulthood being hurt there when he passed on, and that was right before I graduated high school. And then when I remember back to being a child when Owen Hart died, that was tragic enough for me there. And to feel that way about Hana, God, that's one of the main reasons why I didn't load up a video on Friday. I've instead loaded it up today with this one, so you guys are going to get 2 videos today. And as far as I'm concerned, man, I'm going to miss this girl. She was entertaining, full of life, full of energy out there. I feel like she could have been one of the top Japanese stars. We talk about Hikaru Shida, we talk about Io Shirai, we're talking about Asuka, we're talking about Kairi Sane. All these different Japanese girls who are becoming big names, including Shinsuke Nakamura. He's over here! Like Shinsuke Nakamura, all these different Japanese wrestlers who are coming over and being on the mainland shows and getting more exposure here at better levels than what they did prior. I felt like she was going to be one of those stars. And, she was going to... I bet you, give it about 3 or 4 more years, she would have been with one of the major companies, I believe. She would have been either with WWE or AEW, or even Impact for that matter. I I really felt like her and her group, the Tokyo Cyber Squad, would have been one of the big names for Japan wrestling, and especially for Joshi and Stardom. So it's really sad. Max, come over here. Come here. Yeah, Max. my cat's like asking for water. You want water? I'll go get you some water in a little bit, okay? 2 more minutes, okay? So, yeah, guys, it's really sad to hear about this passing, and I haven't felt this hurt about a wrestler passing away since Eddie. It's really sad, truly sad. I mean, and look, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. If I were to go chase after a female wrestler, I think she would have been one of the main ones I would have gone after, just because of how cute she looked or how beautiful she was. And then on top of that, her personality radiates. Oh man, it's like I said, guys. This one's a huge loss for the wrestling community. Even for the people who didn't know her, they are saddened by this. And as far as and I'm pretty sure the fans of Terrace House who watch Terrace House, they're probably even sad there too. Even if you disagreed with her on that whole situation, still, it's like, it's freaking horrible. It's sad. And as far as people who are contemplating suicide or even thinking about killing themselves, understand this. And this is a message from me to you. You know, I might not get to meet you ever. I might not even talk with you. I mean, we might not even like each other in the end, but just letting you know, from human being, brother to brother or sister out there, or I don't know what you call the other gender, but, you know, as a brother in our human form, I love you. Don't hurt yourself like this. Don't harm yourself. If you need someone to talk to, hey, if you can't get a hold of me or DM me and want to talk about stuff, well, we can talk about it. We can chat. I'll listen to you. If not, there's people who care enough to want to help you out for your situation. So always seek help. Even if you have to call somebody on a hotline, you know, just call. Nobody wants to see you end your life this way. And for the people who are saying, and for everybody who feels like this was her only resolve kind of thing, I say shut up. Just shut up. Just shut up. And as far as anybody else who was dealing with this kind of stuff like depression or thoughts of suicide, just go seek help. Talk with somebody. Tell them how you feel, and don't hide it, and don't be scared to say something. Just say it. And for the people out there who have a friend who is dealing with depression or thoughts of suicide, fucking just go to them as soon as you see a sign. I mean, really, or fucking just call them every day and say, "Hey, how are you doing? Life is great, right? Oh, what's up? You know, that kind of shit." And I think a lot of us in our busy schedules these days don't take the time to. Or we're bitter, or we're saddened, or whatnot about other things, you know, or we're too occupied, you know. But if you have a friend who's going through this kind of trouble, guys, fucking just go and help them. Even if it's just a small text. Even if it's just a small phone call, or even just going to their house. You know? Let them know that you fucking care at the end of the day. And sometimes to show someone you care, sometimes you just gotta listen to them. As far as all these people who are cyberbullies, you should be ashamed of yourself for this situation. And as for Hana, guys, I say God bless her, God rest her soul. Let her know that she is loved even in death. You know. Oh man, I'm so sad by this. All right. Okay. So, if there's any more things about Hannah we can say about this, anybody asking it, did anybody try and help her then? Since you're suggesting for all of us to go help someone who might be going through this kind of trouble. Yeah, somebody did. I believe Konami and some of the people from Stardom tried talking to her, trying to reason with her, trying to find out what was going on. They tried their best in trying to comfort her, talk to her in that whole sense of the word. And they thought they had everything cleared up, and the next day, this happens. So it's really sad, especially. And I hear stories now that some people say that she might have did it, but then accidentally didn't know what to do, and it finally took her toll, kind of thing. And it's like, I look at it as, well, what can you do? I mean, at this point, but the fact to know that somebody was there, being her friend when she needed it, and tried to help her out and talk to her, makes me feel a little bit better about it. But still, it was really sad situation, guys. So, in retrospect of last week, I say rest in peace to both Shad Gaspard and Hana Kimura, and God bless you both. And last week was just a sad week in general, especially after watching the Owen Hart special too. I was sad all around. So, all right, guys, enough of it. But let's go into some more news as we can go on to. First and foremost, backstage update on the TNT Championship design and a Jon Moxley update. As of you guys know, AEW had Double or Nothing. Moxley is still the champion, and Cody Rhodes is our new TNT champion. By the way, guys, what did you think of that crappy TNT Championship belt? I know some people might like it because it looks classic, but in my opinion, that looked like a crappy design. Did TNT put this together? Did AEW? I mean, to me, that doesn't speak AEW. That don't speak WWE. That don't speak nothing. To me, it looked like a crappy belt design. I'm not usually a belt mark, but I gotta say, that was fucking the worst design I've ever seen for a wrestling belt, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You guys can say whatever the fuck you want about it. Just because it's my opinion doesn't mean it's fact. But just to give you guys a heads up, I really thought that title looked like crap. Let me know what you guys think. Alright, so according to the PWI Insider, the side plates of the TNT Championship feature Techwood Drive Studios. That is where wrestling was taped for TBS, and it's a tribute to the origins of wrestling on Turner Broadcasting. So they were trying to pay tribute to Turner. I agree with that. That's fine. But as previously noted, the title belt was not finished due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Once the belt is finished, it will be delivered to AEW to replace the one that Cody Rhodes is currently holding. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. That's not the final design of the TNT Championship. I would be hella pissed if I had to go and wrestle for a company that would have made me wrestle for that particular belt. So, the one that Cody is wearing right now is the interim belt, as we will call it. It's not a good-looking belt, in my opinion. But the finished title is supposed to pay tribute to the Turner Broadcasting and probably the old WCW belt. I think I saw a design on Twitter where it had even like the old crown from the big gold belt. So hopefully we'll see what happens with that. I want to see what that design really looks like. There are still plans for the United States theatrical release of Jon Moxley's film Worlds Collide, Cage Fighter. In the meantime, Moxley and AEW producer Nick Mondo Matt Burns, Nick Mondo are developing a film project that has been picked up by studio for production. Also, Godfather and D'Lo Brown will be appearing on Vice TV's After Dark tomorrow night. Is there another episode going to be aired? Oh man, if there is, I want to know what it is. Okay, and then we have some Impact Wrestling news. So big matches set for tomorrow night's Impact, which is our contenders, number one contenders semi-final matches. First match is going to be Trey Miguel versus Michael Elgin. The second match will be Rhino versus Hernandez. And the North will take on Cody Deaner and Wheels on the Deaner compound. So I'm guessing that's going to be a cinematic match for tomorrow night on Impact. As you guys know, I got to tell you this right now. I like this graphic right here, especially with Moose in the middle. And it's like, you're looking at all these different freaking guys who are going to be fighting for the Impact Championship. And I look at Moose with the TNA World Championship, and I say, Moose is the damn real world champion. God. I'm sorry, guys. It's just, I'm a huge mark for that TNA belt right now. And the fact that Moose brought it back is just greatness. Alright. And then also, Ethan Page was on a vlog, had his latest vlog. If you guys want to check it out, Ethan Page is talking to NXT superstar Karrion Kross in a brief cameo. So you guys want to check that out. Also from Impact, Kiera Hogan tries to team up with Rosemary. So I'm going to say this. I thought they were teaming up. Honestly, I think it's kind of contemporary what Rosemary's doing right now, but I think there's so much more they could be doing better with her. I think Rosemary has great potential of being one of the bigger female superstars in today's industry. Speaking of which, of Impact, I was on Impact's Twitter and they were asking who should face Willie Mack for the X Division title. I saw a couple guys say Ethan Page. I saw a couple guys say Ace Austin, TJP and all that, Falaba. And I recommended Su Yung. And somebody's like, but she's a woman! I'm like, so, Tessa Blanchard's the Impact champion. Oh, man. And the X Division's known for no limits. So why not Su Yung for the X Division title, guys? Why not? Alright. Now we go into some WWE news, which is their we're going to go on trademarks. And they're filing new trademarks for WCW and Total Divas. Now, to see what they're going to be doing, it looks like there's a lot of collector, souvenir, mostly merch stuff and intellectual property. So, yeah. And as most people don't know, WWE owns most of all of WCW's basically their whole video library, plus the rings, the equipment that they had used, and now they have the trademarks. And, with your current rival AEW, who respects WCW in some people's eyes, WWE does not plan to give up those trademarks. And as far as Total Divas goes, I'm pretty sure it's because they're renewing their show for another season. So that's why we're getting new trademarks. However, WWE is abandoning the Rated R Superstar trademark, which is what comes after the original file trademark, the nickname used by WWE Hall of Famer back on April 5th. WWE had previously abandoned this before on January 20th, 2014, after originally filing for it in September 17th of 2012. For this trademark, I'm guessing Edge will not be using the rated R superstar anymore. That's a possibility, I'm guessing. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe Edge wants to keep that trademark for himself, so he actually went to WWE and got the permission to do so. Who knows, you know? And quite honestly, that would be a smart move by Edge, because then if he were to go somewhere else, even to wrestle part-time, let's say for AEW, New Japan, or anything, he could still hold that trademark. It's a smart move, but we'll see what happens with this, guys. This is an ongoing story. Alright, and then speaking of more WWE news, we are going to talk about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as his oldest daughter, 18-year-old Simone Johnson, has begun her in-ring training for the WWE Performance Center. This is what Dwayne had to say about his daughter. "Yes, I'm very proud of Simone," Johnson honorably mentioned. "She's my oldest daughter. She's 18 years old. It's so cool. I'm so proud of her. Because, you know, that world, it's a difficult world. Not only to be in, but to make it in. It's also doubtfully difficult when you're a woman. She goes in there, and not only has big shoes to fill, and is aware of our family name, but she also has the desire to create her own path, which is the best part about it. Also, she goes in humble, hungry, and is a student every day. She just wants to learn. She's a badass. She kicks ass." Alright, so guys, for Simone Johnson, guys, there's a lot of talk about her coming in. I think she's going to do well, hopefully. I'm hoping. I don't know how the fans are going to receive her, specifically because, you know, for a lot of the things, a lot of people have basically shedded on Roman Reigns and the Usos, Tamina, even Nia Jax at a bit, because they were related to The Rock at one point, and to me that's unfair. It's very unfair to anybody who's related to The Rock. If you're gonna compare them to him, it's not fair. And I feel like for a lot of the fans, you know, it's what you call. It's unfair to basically judge someone based off what their father or what their mother or brother did, or uncle did, you know. As far as this goes, you know, because we don't know how this person's gonna do, especially when they're a rookie in the business. And I choose not to judge already because of this. I can't wait to see what Simone does in the ring. Want to see how her personality and character is, because by then I will know how I would rate her as far as wrestlers coming in. And for what it sounds like, it's all been good news and positive news from everybody. And I like Charlotte's advice to her: don't rely on your dad, don't rely on your family name. You gotta make your own, basically. So I can't wait to see what happens with this. And as far as this interview goes, he's so proud of her, but I look at it as, okay, he's hyping her up too. So we'll see that. We'll see how it goes, you know? Let's just see how it goes. Alright. Here's some news from Dark Side of the Ring, guys. Dave Meltzer has noted on Sunday's night's main event podcast, Dark Side of the Ring producers did reach out to WWE Hall of Famer, for him to appear on the season 2 finale about the tragic passing of his brother Owen. However, it appears Brett no-sold the offer from producers. Meltzer, the producers wanted Brett on the episode, and they wanted him to appear. They asked him to appear, but he never got back to them. Owen's immediate family, including Martha and their 2 kids, were featured on the show. I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because it's Meltzer again, guys. It's Dave Meltzer. I swear I could go on more than an hour about Dave Meltzer. But as far as this situation with Brett, I can understand why Brett didn't appear on this for many reasons. For one, maybe Brett didn't feel comfortable talking about this situation on Dark Side of the Ring. Another thing is, too, maybe he caught when Martha was going to be in it and Martha was going to make it all about something else. I mean, to me, that goes back to the whole issue of Martha and the Hart family, guys. As you guys know, she has no real relationship with them anymore. In this case, I can see why Brett might not have been in this episode, just because out of respect to Martha, or didn't want to be involved in this, because it's probably going to be hard when everybody's going to try and contradict him too. I mean, it's the same thing when you look back to the David Schultz episode where basically Eddie Mansfield was trying to contradict what Mansfield was doing, or while everybody was contradicting Mansfield in that whole interview with John Stossel. So when I look at this particular episode, I can understand why Brett probably didn't want to get involved. We probably could have gotten the full story from Brett too, but I can also see her not wanting to get involved with Brett. Who knows? That's something that's a deep-rooted situation, which I'm not going to get into. Alright. The original plans for the location of Fyter Fest has been revealed. And before COVID-19 happened, Fyter Fest was going to take place in London. So for you guys who are out in the UK, if this pandemic did not happen, you guys would have got AEW Fyter Fest, which would have been live around the world. And basically what's being announced for the show, if you didn't catch on to it, they are basically going with Brian Cage versus Jon Moxley for the world title for Fyter Fest. That's of what the writing is being put into it. But there's no word if the event will be available for free on BR Live. Fyter Fest would have took place in London for you UK fans. And you would have gotten to see Brian Cage take on Jon Moxley for the AEW World Heavyweight title. To me, that would have been big news if that was going to happen. I guess another unfortunate and sad thing that we have to call on because of COVID-19. And there's also an update on Britt Baker and Ray Phoenix. And that is that it did not affect creative plans for Double or Nothing. So basically, with them being injured, they were probably easily written off after that. So, if that means they didn't affect their plans too much. And when I look at AEW, their women's title situation going on, it's not as story intricate as WWE's is right now. To me, I don't really catch their women's wrestling as entertaining as compared to WWE's right now. I think Impact has the best women's wrestling as far as storylines go. WWE second, Stardom third, and then fourth with AEW. Main reason why I say fourth for AEW is just because I feel like they haven't found their niche yet. And when they do, I think they can be a huge player, but I don't think they found their niche for the women yet. And for anybody who says that whole Riho storyline was a good one, I think you need to go watch that whole thing one more time. And you'll realize it was mediocre at best. Do I think Rio would have been was a good women's champion? I believe so. Nyla Rose was a good story, but I think Nyla chasing people is a lot more fun. With Hikaru Shida becoming women's champion this past weekend, I think that's interesting enough for it to continue. So, I think AEW's women's division needs to get better, or they need to find their niche soon. Because Stardom, they're based off of all women's promotion, for one. WWE, their women's promotion has been getting... I mean, their women's division has gotten real good in the last 4 or 5 years. The competition is really interesting. Everybody has a good character. The only thing I consider it bad is that there's some that just don't have good enough facials and expressions. But when I look at it, theirs is probably the best right now as far as in-ring action. Just having a balance. And in TNA, Impact Wrestling's women's division is all around better than all the other ones. Just because, well, I don't want to say Gail Kim because I know she's the one working behind stage for them. But it's just the fact that a lot of their storylines are very contemporary, intricate, and the women wrestle just as good as the men. So, right there, I think Impact has the best women's division right now. Do I think WWE would have a better one? Well, we'll see in the next couple of months, you know. With Charlotte Flair, Rhea Ripley, and Io Shirai over the NXT belt, I think that's interesting already. Alright, so next. Alright, we'll save The Undertaker for last, because he's the best. Seth Rollins on Becky Lynch's pregnancy and how it was done. He goes on to say, I thought it was perfect. We hadn't told many people about it, aside from close family and friends. And I thought it was a perfect way to watch her go out and tell the world exactly the way she wanted it. I was backstage right behind the curtain watching on the monitor, and it really hit home. That was the first time it really felt super real that we're going to be parents. Life's about to change for the rest of our lives. Being featured as a playable King of Fighters All-Star. By the way, guys, that's a fun fucking game. I've been enjoying it for a while. He says, when I was a kid, I used to create myself in WWE video games. And that was awesome. I've been fortunate enough to be included in the last 7 or 8 iterations of the video game that we've put out, which is pretty gnarly. Now to be featured in a completely different video game franchise, one that has so many different versions over the years and been so successful, and one that I grew up playing back in the day, it's really awesome. I was really surprised, but because I didn't know I was going to be included in that group of legends. That's definitely a good company. Working with Edge in the near future, I can only assume that our paths will cross. I don't know what Edge's contract looks like, and I don't know where his story with Randy Orton is going next, but I enjoyed their match at WrestleMania, and I look forward to their match at Backlash. If I were to guess, putting myself in Edge's shoes, I would think he has some unfinished business with Seth Rollins. I can only assume at some point in time he's going to come calling, and I would be happy to answer that call. Edge is someone I've admired for a long time. He's someone I've been compared to a lot in my career. In something I never thought was possible, but I think it would be cool callback to the story you mentioned all those years ago. Now that it's on the table, I don't see why we wouldn't address it. And then of course he goes on to talk about the Monday Night Messiah character, where she says, I think there's a lot of room for growth. The thing I've enjoyed the most is being on the other end of the leadership totem pole. In the authority, I was essentially learning from Kane, Triple H, Randy Orton, and Stephanie, and to an extent J&J, who both had more experience than I did. Now in my current role, I've got Murphy, Austin Theory under my tutelage. So to be able to take knowledge that I've learned over the past 8 years to help them move their careers forward, that's very exciting. It's a different role that I've ever taken on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing them blossom and become bigger superstars. And then he also talks about the potential of Austin Theory. A little backstory to Austin Theory. He was a guy recently signed to NXT and kind of just fell into my lap. When WrestleMania was moved to Orlando and we had to make a roster changes, Austin kind of slipped in there, and he made his WrestleMania debut at 22 years old. I had heard his name, but I never actually seen him perform. I watched him for the first time leading into WrestleMania, and I was so impressed by his poise, his work ethic, his style, and his presence that then I found out how old he is, and I was even more in shock. I felt disappointed in myself for thinking about how terrible I was at his age. I've kept an eye on him since, and I put feelers out there. If he was available, I'd certainly take him. One thing led to another, and now we're here. We're just getting started tonight. It is really going to be the first time we'll see him side by side with me, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can accomplish. Well, there you guys go. I mean, Seth is happy to become a parent. He's happy to be in the King of Fighters game. He is looking forward to facing Edge one day, and he's enjoying being the Monday Night Messiah and basically teaching Austin Theory and Buddy Murphy how to become bigger stars, and which I am looking forward to both of them in the future becoming big stars. I think Buddy Murphy has what it takes to be one of those guys. I think a couple other guys I can come up with there would be definitely Austin Theory, Cedric Alexander, Mustafa Ali. I think Humberto Carrillo, I know some people are going to call him Chumberto, but I think he has something there. Ricochet definitely has something. So I feel like they're the backbone of WWE right now. That's what I'm trying to say. Alright, new champion crowned from tonight's Monday Night Raw. Apollo Crews, folks, has defeated Andrade to become the new United States champion. This is the first championship that Apollo Crews has held in his WWE career. The finish came when Apollo hit the shooting star press. So, folks, your new United States champion is Apollo Crews. I hope they go further on and make this meaningful for him. Next, Jim Ross comments on the differences between Vince McMahon and Dana White, and which he goes on starting off with Vince McMahon. When Vince walks into the room, into a room, often at times he sucks the air right out of it, and he does it because he likes it. He can, and he likes it. Dana can, and I'm sure he does in some deals, but just on casual one-on-one basis, they're nothing alike. Dana's a lot more straightforward. Vince is a very guarded, and I think that comes from decades and generations of his family in the wrestling business. All of those old promoters are guarded. The kayfabe. You can't tell anybody what's going on. And all this other stuff. So Vince is more guarded. Dana White, however, is very open. As you know, you talk to him a zillion times. To me now, he might not be to you for a story you're chasing that he's not ready to tell you, but he's pretty damn open and stuff. And that's how I found him to be. He's a good dude, man. He's the kind of guy of us fans would dig having a beer with. He's a funny guy, well-rounded, loves football, so I love that. He loves MMA, obviously, and I do too. So he's great. On Tony Khan now, they asked him. Tony Khan, I told Tony, when we go back to the hotel, I said, I hope that I know that you have memory that's like the Rain Man. Tony don't miss nothing. And I said, you got about 45 minutes to an hour with one of the great entrepreneurs of American sports. No matter what anybody else says about his demeanor or what they perceive Dana to be, look what he and others have built. It's a major league, man. Just his spirit is good to experience. All right, and then our last article for today is the Undertaker. So first and foremost, this is going back for the documentary, in which the Undertaker has stated he didn't originally intend for backstage footage for the documentary, and this is what he had to say. We didn't start with the process, let's make a documentary. The original concept, it just started when I got to Orlando and was going to work with Roman. In my mind, that was going to be it. So I just wanted, because I had protected this career for so long, and obviously the boys on the inside, they got to see those kind of parts of me. But the rest of the world didn't. I didn't know what we were going to do with the footage, but I know that I wanted it, and I knew I wasn't going to have another opportunity to get it. So that's kind of really how it started. And the next thing you know, we're 3 years down the road, and we have tons of footage. And we've got this. We really realized that, wow, we've got a really, really good story here about me coming to grips with, my wrestling mortality and all that. Obviously, I'm really proud how this is turning out. In the beginning, I go back and forth. I would be, oh, this is a horrible idea. My real fan base they're not gonna like it. And then there's the people who have been clamoring for years. And they've wanted to see it. And I had all these dueling battles on whether it was a good idea or not. But I'm glad I've worked long and hard with Dan Percelli, who produced it. And really, really happy that it's turned out the way it has. I'm actually quite happy with how this documentary has come out, with Taker and the Last Ride series, because quite honestly, it gives you a very insightful idea of what is Undertaker's life in the locker room like, Not only that, seeing what the actual person's dealing with during this whole time. And the whole thing is, it's all story driven at this point, because the story is Taker, who in real life is actually contemplating his wrestling career, he's showing you guys the process of how he's looking at his final ride for wrestling in general. So, yes. And here's the thing. For those of you guys who thought it was bad for him to sign that this new contract right now, you gotta understand, Taker's gonna make a lot of money without having to wrestle, just on his merit alone. So that's why I'm enjoying every bit of it right now. And then, guys, The Undertaker's original opponent for WrestleMania 26 has been revealed. So, as much of you guys may know, 10 years ago was WrestleMania 26. As you may know, McIntyre, instead of participating and lost in the Money in the Bank ladder match of WrestleMania 26, was originally scheduled to face The Undertaker. And this is what Undertaker had to say. Interesting story from back in the day. And again, I don't know if I ever spoke about this publicly, so I could be giving you exclusives here. Seems to be happy put his life out there now. I remember the days when cameras and would come backstage, he would say F off. So it's bizarre for me to see him. You know, so be so comfortable on camera and tell his amazing story. So, yeah, let's see. Frick, where does it say this? The retirement match, of course, is going to be a phenomenal match. Inevitable goal for him. A lot of time passed, and eventually I got the opportunity to tag with myself and Shane, myself and Shane versus Undertaker and Roman. Oh, this is for. Oh, my bad, guys. This is Drew McIntyre explaining. My bad, my bad. So basically, this is for Drew McIntyre, guys. My bad. Drew McIntyre reveals that he was originally going to be The Undertaker's opponent at WrestleMania 26. And it was his lifelong dream to face The Undertaker. But he wasn't ready for it at the time. And if you look back when he was 24, he pretty much, it wasn't going to work out. He wasn't ready for this match. And of course, for those of you guys who don't know why this match didn't happen between Taker and McIntyre at WrestleMania 26, it's because I believe Michael Hayes was the one that came up to Shawn Michaels and said, "Hey, how would you like to go on? How would you like to go out on top?" As it's been told. So this was he's going like so. I think Drew wants to wrestle Taker in one of the next coming WrestleManias. So we'll see what happens. And basically, what Vince McMahon also told Drew back in that day is, you don't listen to anyone but Undertaker. He's your mentor. And quite honestly, I agree with that. He should be listening to Taker. So guys, that is it for today's episode. I know it's kind of dragged out. I'm kind of irritated with the internet right now because of what's going on with the Hana Kimura situation. On top of that, yeah, I'm going to be doing a lot. If you guys probably noticed in this video by now, I've done a lot of editing. It's mostly because my family's trying to pull me away or talk to me in some way or ask me for some stuff. I have no problem with doing that. So, hey, whatever. And they also told me, make sure you get everything out. If we say anything, just respecting their privacy in that sense. But other than that, guys, I hope you all have a great day. I'm going to consider about what we're going to do for the next episode of Wrestling News. I've also considered starting up the Chrono Trigger series back up to give you guys new episodes. I have about a week's worth of content. And I think we're almost done with the game. So I'm also currently looking at other titles to be doing. In the meanwhile, we'll also be airing Mortal Kombat. I have about 3 weeks episodes ready to go. So, it should be good. Alright. You guys all hit a like, subscribe, leave a comment. You guys enjoy yourselves. If you're going to come up here to bully me, by the way, guys, I'm not going to even pay attention to you. I'm serious. Sorry about that. I'll probably pay attention to the guys who are actually asking me good questions or even throwing support up or giving me constructive criticism. So, I try to read my comments very closely to see what is good, Other than that, you guys take care, have a good day, and God bless. And thank you for watching.